One.
Hola, ¿cómo está Las Vegas? And welcome to Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. I feel so blessed to be an American today, being the greatest country in the entire world. And I'm so proud to have Donald J. Trump as the president. What I want to talk to you about today is World War III. I know a lot of people are like, what are you talking about, World War III? I don't believe that the world ever ended the last war. A lot of people, they call it the Cold War. They believe that Vietnam and Korea and even the Iraq War, a lot of those wars were just a continuation of World War II. They would be correct. The Cold War never ended. World War II never ended. The world was just divided up into pieces. On a chessboard, those pieces are still being moved around the world right now. And the major players are still the same. The United States, Russia, China. Back then it was Japan. Same thing. The world has not changed. We still have this giant chessboard in which countries and nations are being moved around. Wealth is being moved around. I believe that after the last World War and after the peace signatures were signed in the 40s, I believe that the next war began the next day with Germany being broken into two pieces and so on and so forth all over the world, North and South Korea, on and on. I don't believe that the last war ever ended. I believe that the New World Order was not created in the 80s and the 90s like the internet would like you to believe. I believe the New World Order was created right after World War II. I don't believe there's been any difference between Democrats and Republicans until this year. I believe that Donald Trump is definitely, and I don't really know if I even consider him a Republican. I consider him a conservative. I consider him a Christian. And I consider him a patriot. I consider him someone that puts this country first. And we haven't had a president like that in many, many years. He is a real leader that believes in America first, bringing American jobs back, creating new American wealth, and making America safe again. Keeping people that are illegal and do not belong in our country, vetting them, coming from countries like Syria and other countries. It is very, very, very important that we protect our borders, that we build that wall between the United States and Mexico, because I believe that the next war is absolutely coming. If you look at what's going on in Europe, if you look at what's going on with the European Union, which I believe will be one of the first steps to leading into World War III. I believe that it was a failed experiment to begin with. And I believe with Brexit, with Great Britain leaving the European Union, leaving the euro as the main source of spending, the main commodity in Britain, I believe that that will destabilize the entire union. And I believe we will be looking at countries going back to using their natural currency, each country, whether it be Germany or Britain and so on as France, will go back to using the franc. I think the euro is about to die, and I think the European Union is about to die. So I think Europe will break up again. I believe there will be tensions again between China and other Asian nations. I believe that that's why Donald Trump is trying to become friends with Vladimir Putin, because I think that that is a giant move on the chessboard. And I think he sees himself being the United States being left out on the chessboard to fight countries like China, to fight terrorist nations in the Middle East. And he feels like he can use Russia, he can use the Soviet Union if they are to get back together as a king's move on the chessboard to help fight terrorism and to help fight anybody who wants to threaten the United States' safety. I think that that's why he's doing that. I think it's very, very, very important for the United States to have allies in what's about to go on, because I definitely think there's no doubt about it in my mind that we are definitely will be heading towards another world war. And I think that that's what's happening. I think in Mexico, and I think that's why he wants to build the wall. That's why he wants to protect the United States of America. That's why it's so important to him, because he believes that there will be foreign threats to our nation, and not just terrorists, not just Al-Qaeda, not just ISIS, but there will actually be actual nations that will threaten the United States of America. I think that Donald Trump should be very careful, though, about playing this chess game coming up. Vladimir Putin has been in politics the majority of his life. He is a very skillful chess player. He is very intelligent. And there is no doubt in my mind, although I'm not surprised or astonished, the fact that Russia, that Vladimir Putin, that the KGB had something to do with the elections, the presidential election. There's no doubt in my mind. I think that the Democrats knew that. I think that Donald Trump knew that. There's no doubt in my mind that they had some influence on the election, that they had some influence with WikiLeaks and with allowing those emails to come out against Hillary Clinton. There's no doubt in my mind about that. We also use the CIA to influence elections all over the world. We tried it against Vladimir Putin. We've done it in Germany. We do it all over the world all the time. And we are astonished when these operatives are arrested and being threatened with long sentences in those countries as being spies. Well, there's no doubt in my mind that those CIA agents are spies. They're not just workers. They're not just there to help out people in their country. They're there to influence those countries, influence those elections all over the world. The KGB does the same thing. And they use WikiLeaks against Hillary Clinton, threatening to expose those emails, which of course would have come out and would have hurt her and did hurt her, even though they didn't come out in the national election. So you got to be very, very, very careful of dealing with Vladimir Putin, because he is a very, very experienced politician. He has done this, like I said, the majority of his life. I think that he hated Barack Obama and he hated the Senate at the time because of the embargoes against Russia. He sees himself as an expansionist. He sees himself as bringing the old Soviet Union, Estonia and Ukraine and Lithuania and all of those countries. He sees himself bringing those countries back together and bringing the Soviet Union back to the prominence. He feels like it is not the world power that it once was. He feels natural resources and other things, yes, Russia is still a world power, but they are not the military or political power that they once were. And I think it is very important to Vladimir Putin that he sees the old Soviet Union come back and form the way it used to be. The only way he's going to do that is to get those. I mean, trust me, they go around the embargo that the United States set up, but there's no doubt in my mind that he would love to see the embargo lifted. There's no doubt in my mind that Rex Tillerson, who is the Secretary of State, Vladimir Putin has been playing this chess game for a while. He gave him the highest Russian non-military honor of friendship to Rex Tillerson over a decade ago, when Rex Tillerson was the CEO of ExxonMobil. So he's been planning this for a while. He has been promoting Rex Tillerson. He has been promoting Donald Trump to get into politics and to help end the embargo against Russia. This was no accident, and it was no accident that Donald Trump chose Rex Tillerson to be Secretary of State over the other people, Mitt Romney and Rudolph Giuliani. There was no accident in that. His relationship, Rex Tillerson, with Vladimir Putin, being friends with him, when he was the CEO of ExxonMobil, there is no doubt about it that had a large influence on why Donald Trump chose Rex Tillerson to be Secretary of State, because of his friendship with Vladimir Putin. And I think Vladimir Putin is just so excited because he sees the day very soon when a lot of those embargoes are going to be lifted. And you can see the Senate, the Democrats and the Republicans, fighting back against Donald Trump because they see a day when those embargoes are lifted against Russia. And that will give Vladimir Putin the financial and the political capital to try and recapture some of those old Soviet states. So I think that it's very important that while I love our new president, I think he's going to do wonderful things. I definitely believe in putting America first. I definitely believe in bringing American jobs back. I definitely believe in creating an even playing field all over the world financially, tearing up some of these trade agreements. I'm glad the TPP is gone. I think that he should redo NAFTA. I am definitely a nationalist. I am definitely a patriot. I definitely believe in putting America first. But you have to be careful, because while Donald J. Trump is an extraordinary businessman, he has proven that time and time again. He has wealth all over the world. He has real estate all over the world. And while he is a wonderful real estate person and a wonderful businessman, he is new to the world of politics. And you are dealing with some of these leaders all over the world, whether they be in Europe or Asia or in Russia, that have been involved with politics for decades. And they understand what is going on, and they understand that, this is a chess game. It's not checkers. And you have to be very careful with giving away political capital. You have to be very careful, because make no mistake about it, we live in the greatest country on earth. And people always look back now and they say, how did World War I start? How did World War II start? Well, let me tell you something. Go to these other countries. We get spoiled in the United States of America. We literally can be born here into poverty. And we can literally be born of any color, any ethnicity, any religious background. And you can become a millionaire. You can become a billionaire. We have billionaires of different races, of different religions, of all kind of backgrounds in this world, in this country. You don't have to come from a certain class. You don't have to come from a certain political background to make it in the United States of America. It truly is the only country that you can be born in the projects of Chicago or the tenements in New York City, and you can go on to become one of the richest people in the world. Ask Jay-Z. You can be, even though I don't agree with his policies, you can be named Barack Hussein Obama and be a politician on the south side of Chicago. And you can go on to be president of the United States. You can literally, if you do the right things, if you connect yourself with the right people, if you work your butt off here, you can literally become anything in this country. And we believe that it's like that all over the world. It's not like that. Even in other countries that are close to the United States, even in other countries that have democratically elected presidents, there are classes that you are raised in those countries. Britain, for one, and it's probably the closest thing to the United States, but you are not going to go from one position to another. And I mean, look at how they treated Princess Diana, because she wasn't born into royalty. I mean, here you literally, there's no way Barack Hussein Obama becomes King of England. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But in this country, you can literally become anything that you want to be, raised out of nothing. And we get spoiled in this country. And you wonder, they say, well, how do these wars start? Because those people feel like they're fighting for something different from us. They feel like they're fighting for their survival. There's a difference between fighting for your survival and fighting for your way of life. We fight for our way of life. They literally, those people in those other countries are poor. Politically, they're never going to be anything. And they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to eat. So there's a difference. And when they feel like their country is threatened, when they feel like their existence is threatened, that's what starts wars. And they feel like, they have no opportunity, no chance. And a lot of those countries, those people are forced to join the military. We're here, we join out of our own accord. It is a voluntary service corps. So it's just a difference in mentality. And, they have a lot of national pride, a lot of those people. A lot of those people don't come from as diverse a country as the United States of America. And when they feel like their way of life is being threatened, they want to fight about it. They want to go to war about it. That's what happened in Germany in the 30s and the 40s. That's what happened to the Soviet Union, to Russia in the first war. And I feel like there's no doubt in my mind that I think we are heading toward another war. So I just encourage and I urge our president to understand what's at stake, to understand that while I definitely have national pride, I understand how he feels about putting America first. I understand what he feels about Russia being our friend and helping us in the fight against ISIS and terrorism all over the world. He feels like it is better for Russia to be our ally also as far as economically. They're sitting on a lot of national resources. So I understand why he feels the way he feels. And I'm also in agreement. I feel as if Russia right now can be more of an ally than a hindrance, than an enemy. I think they're sitting on a lot of natural resources. I think we're sitting on a lot of natural resources. I think technologically wise that we can share a lot of information with each other. And so I totally understand that. But at the same time, you have to understand that Vladimir Putin is an expansionist, and it will not be democratically done if those old Soviet bloc countries become part of Russia again. It will be a takeover. It will be an invasion like he tried to do in Ukraine. He is not going to, there will not be a vote, and if it is a vote, it will be fixed. That's the one thing that I understand with the Congress. I'm as conservative as they come. I'm as Christian as they come. I'm as big of a Donald Trump backer as they come. But the one thing that does bother me a little bit, and I do understand as far as what the senators are talking about, what the House of Representatives are talking about on both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican, is that he does not have experience when it comes to dealing with a lot of national security issues. And when you are dealing with Russia, when you are dealing with China, you have to be careful because they will capitalize on every single mistake that you make. And I am very, very, very fearful that while we become allies, and it will serve us in the beginning, it will serve Vladimir Putin in the end. And definitely it is a game of chess, not checkers to him. He is looking to expand the empire. He is looking to claim back national and political power. He is looking to make the Soviet Union the way it used to be. He feels like for too long, Russia has been down for too long. He does not have the political clout to make a difference in the world, to carve out his dynasty that he would like to do in the world, especially in Eastern Europe. And of course, if he does that in Eastern Europe, it is a threat to Western Europe. I'm sure the Germans are looking at what he's doing. I'm sure the British are looking at what he's doing. I'm sure the Austrians are looking at what he's doing. The Czechoslovakians, the Polish, they are looking at what he's doing in Russia. They know he wants to expand his empire, and now he has a friend in the most powerful country on earth, the United States of America. There is no doubt that Donald J. Trump and Rex Tillerson will end those embargoes against Russia. And it's not that I don't agree with them, I do. I just ask him to urge caution, and that he cannot yell at Barack Obama for making horrible nuclear deals with Iran, which he did. We paid way too much. We got nothing out of it, and they are continuing to proliferate their nuclear program in Iran. The United States got nothing out of that deal but a little time. But in the end, they're going to continue their program, and I believe Iran will get nuclear weapons in the not too distant future. So we didn't really win. Anytime you make a deal, it should be a win-win unless you are doing charity work. But when you are involved in a negotiation with another country, it should be a win-win process for both countries. We didn't win-win in the Iran deal. We didn't win-win in NAFTA. We weren't going to win-win in TPP, and we certainly have not won in dealing with China as far as trade is concerned. So I would just hope that, you know, it's one thing to be on the political campaign trail and be talking about all the things that you disagree with. It's another thing to be sitting in the hot seat in Washington, D.C., in the White House, in the Oval Office. Now, Mr. President, the decisions are yours. And I would, you berated Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton for making horrible decisions as far as dealing with Russia, as far as dealing with China, as far as dealing with the Middle East. But now you're sitting in the hot seat. You have no bigger supporter than Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. I am a huge Donald Trump fan. I have your signs at my business, at my home, here at Radio Tribune in beautiful downtown Las Vegas. But I am concerned because you are a new politician, that you have to understand that this is a game of checkers, not chess, and that Vladimir Putin is a seasoned politician who will give up a little today to get a lot tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening today. Once again, I want to thank my executive producer, Cian Garcia. She does a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job producing and directing this show. I want to send out a special thanks to my sister, Kaylee Garcia, who is head of social media here. She's doing a wonderful job. Look me up on Facebook. She's doing a marvelous job with my Facebook page. You can find out so much about Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. Once again, you can call in either one of my phones. You can call me personally and set up a time. We can set up a time with the producer here, and you can come in and sit in the show live, or we can have you over the telephone and you can do the show live, whether you're in town or out of town here in the beautiful city of Las Vegas. But I would love to have you on the show. Leave a comment, and don't forget that when you watch Chris Garcia, the Conservative American, push the subscribe button. And as soon as the show is finished, in a matter of an hour or so, it will come up live on your tablet, your phone, your computer. It is very important. We are a movement here. This just isn't a show. It's a movement for the American people. It's a movement to change our government. It's a movement for Donald J. Trump. So we are big fans. We are big supporters here at Radio Tribune. And I hope that you watch, listen, tell your friends, tell your family, get them around, watch the show. I told you from day one, I'm going to be here for the American people. I'm going to fight for you. And I'm always going to talk about serious matters. But I think this world is headed toward a war. And I want the United States to be prepared. I want the United States to make proper allies and proper decisions before that happens. It could be 8, 10, 12, 20 years from now. There's always a lead up to any conflict. But I want Donald J. Trump and I want our country to be aware of what's going on. These politicians around the world are very seasoned, and they will play this game of checkers, and they definitely, they will, come out on top if we are not careful. So I urge Donald J. Trump to be very, very, very cautious in dealing with Vladimir Putin. Thank you so much for watching again today. Again, you can call me on either number, 702-600-0005 or 702-265-3974. Again, the show is growing. We're having very, very, very important guests on. Tomorrow we will have on Teen Challenge, the young men from across the street that are doing a great job. They are giving their lives to Christ, and they are rehabilitating themselves off of drugs and alcohol, and they're changing their life, and they're out here being soldiers for Christ, for God. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, Google Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. We will be up on YouTube in a couple of hours. And again, call me and let me know what you think. The show is growing. I thank you so much for your support. And once again, we are on from 1 to 1:30 Pacific time, Monday through Friday. I will see you tomorrow. God bless America. God bless our troops. And Godspeed to our President, Donald Trump. Thank you so much.